Welcome to episode 31 of Rebels Without a Pod, the show that dares ask the question, who are you, Timothy? Who are you, Amy? And what happened to you?
Ooh.
Take two.
It's a great question.
Welcome to episode 31 of Rebels Without a Pod, the show that dares ask the question, who's a big bear? Who's a big bear? Take three.
He's a big bear.
Take three. Oh.
Take three. Welcome to episode 31 of Rebels Without a Pod, the show that dares ask the question.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
My name is John.
All three takes are staying in. I'm not cutting
My
that
name
up.
is John, and joining me tonight, Andy, who does our artwork and graphic design.
Hey, guys.
Naveen on music and audio production.
Hello, 12 subscribers.
I think we hit 14 over the weekend.
Oh,
Yeah, but
thanks.
four of them are us. That doesn't count.
They didn't have to know that.
And Pod Daddy Eric, aka the Kind Warrior.
Who wants to go camping in September in Alaska? I got
I do.
one space available.
Mine. I'll take it.
You got it? All right, let's go.
All right.
Just
All right. Squeeze your hand so tight, like
Just
I did
eat
last time.
clear it with wives first. Just Alaska.
Eat as much as you can before you leave. Just get nice and plump, and avoid bears.
Also, please hand me that soy sauce.
Yeah.
I got to say, Naveen's pretty fast. So you got to make sure that you bone up on your running skills, Eric.
Right? Yeah. It's
You're like, wait,
As long
were
as
you
there's
an
somebody
Eagle
else behind
Scout?
me.
yeah. It's
You're an Eagle
that
Scout
old
now?
I never made it to Eagle Scout.
Oh,
no.
okay.
it's that old joke about like the two friends being chased by the bear and one turns the other and he goes, I'm feeling good. I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you.
Yeah, that's true.
Today on the show, we are continuing our mockumentary cycle with Werner Herzog's 2005 documentary Grizzly Man. But first, gentlemen, how are things? How's it going?
Good,
Not too
good.
shabby.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
That's good.
I appropriate. Oh, sorry, Naveen. I stepped on you there.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Go for it.
I appropriately finished. My wife and I appropriately finished season 2 or 3 of The Bear. Finally. We had left the very last episode and hadn't bothered watching it for, I don't know, over a month, because season 3 was just a slog.
Yeah.
But I figured that if I was gonna finish it, this was the week to finish it.
Spoiler alert, Cousin Richie gets eaten.
I was gonna say, does a bear show up?
Yes, something like that.
Just a hungry gentleman called the bear.
I don't know.
He's there, but he's just as a line cook in the background. It's not really commented on.
He's like, hey,
On another note, did you finish Stranger Things yet?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Finished Stranger Things. We're actually now on to A Good Place, which we had never watched before. Which so far, I mean, we're only like 5 episodes in. I'm enjoying that.
I'm sorry, The Good Place, do you mean? The Kristen Bell and
Whatever it is.
Dancing.
The one with Ted Danson and Kristen Bell.
All right.
We're watching that, which I'm enjoying. We are also working our way through Shrinking season 2. Is it 2 that's out now or 3? 2.
Shrinking?
Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. It's the psychology show.
Yes.
Oh.
It is fantastic.
Really?
It's by the same guy that did Scrubs, the same guy that did Ted Lasso, Bill Lawrence, and it has some overlap of actors between the two. It's honestly one of my favorite shows that I've watched in a very, very long time.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not even aware of it.
So,
It's really good.
is it just overlapping actors, or do they kind of do like a shared universe thing?
No.
Or like a guy with
Actors.
So it's
Just actors. Yeah, it's just overlap. And I mean, Harrison Ford is phenomenal. I can't think of her name. This is awful. There's an African-American actress who's on the show who used to be on The Daily Show. Jessica Davis. Jessica.
She was one of like the main like top level correspondents for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is wonderful. I don't
Jessica
have
Williams.
Williams. That's it. Jessica Williams. There aren't enough good things that I could possibly say about this show. It's just great.
Nice.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Please definitely. The Good Place was one of my personal sort of favorite shows that I've watched like over like the last few years, and and that particularly having a strict 4 seasons and the entire story having a beginning, a middle, and an end to it. That's a show that really kind of does one of kind of my sort of favorite things with kind of limited run series like that, where it starts completely insane. It starts at what feels like a 10, and where it kind of ends up by the time that it sort of wraps is just complete, just somehow even more sort of just like wild and unpredictable. So
cool.
I'd be curious to hear kind of how that.
I mean, John, would you call it the Great Place?
The Great Place. I would call it the greatest place.
The greatest place ever.
Right.
Yeah,
if nothing else, career best acting for Ted Danson, other than him being buried up to like his neck in sand.
I mean, I don't know. I stopped at Veronica Mars. And that's as far as I'm going with Kristen Bell. So
Ted Danson is a revelation in this show so far.
Incredible.
Ted Danson, I stopped at Cheers.
Right.
So good.
Well, and Andy, you said you're 5 episodes.
You're the baby.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. You've just not seen anything yet.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're still building the kind of the idea of what's happening here, and now there's some sinkhole they're dealing with, and I don't know. It's very good.
Danson specifically, like you're really in for a treat.
Cool. Good. Excellent.
Papa, how about yourself?
Nice. I don't know if I brought this up before, but my son really got into. I can't explain this, but he really enjoys. He started getting into music. He heard the Pirates of the Caribbean theme song, and he really enjoyed it. So he wanted to see the movie because it has pirates. So we watched the first 2.5 movies, and I haven't. So the first one I've seen probably maybe 4 or 5 times. I like it every time. I think it's a pretty solid movie. Pacing's good.
Big
Johnny
surprise
Depp
at the time, I remember.
Yeah, Johnny Depp's fantastic. All the action scenes, just everything is just a great movie. The second one, I remember I saw it at the theaters. That is probably the last time I've seen it. I saw the second and third one at the theaters. And so I knew that they're long, roughly about 2 hours and 45 minutes a piece. So I broke them up. And so when I watched it with my son, we watched like an hour here, an hour there. And so it just didn't feel as long when he saw it. So he was able to also, the story's so overly convoluted, more so than it has to be. It's building up to this kind of big reveal, but it just spends a full 2 hours and 45 minutes in the second movie trying to get to that point. And then when it gets there, you're kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah. I got
pretty complicated mythology for a movie based on a theme park ride.
Yeah.
Is the second one the one with Davy Jones?
Yeah.
That was
just the one where the Kraken just keeps showing up and you're like, okay, the Kraken, it went destroyed that ship. Okay, got it. And it's like, whoop, the Kraken's back again. He's still hungry.
Yeah.
He shows up like I think 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Right. And then the third movie, I remember they're just kind of walking down the beach and like, oh, look at that dead Kraken. Yeah.
Dead Kraken. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Davy Jones, his heart got captured, so he's losing his powers and he controlled the Kraken, so it was like dying. Yeah. The thing that destroyed my son the most was in the third movie, I think it was. They were on the beach. This is when they just saved Johnny Depp from Davy Jones' locker. And in order for Johnny Depp and everyone to escape, they had to sacrifice the dog that holds the key, like the jailer's key. So the dog jumped off the ship, swam up to the beach, and started running. And then he sacrificed himself for the sake of freaking Johnny Depp, like and all those other clowns. So my son was like, "But the dog comes back, right?" I'm like, "Let's just watch the rest of the movie and see how it goes." So I promised him maybe, informally that the dog might come back. We'll see. I honestly don't remember.
Son, it's a magical piratey world. Like anything can happen.
If worse comes to worse, I'm gonna give the neighbor's dog a bunch of treats and then try to train it to like hold like my set of house keys and see if it can just kind of bring him to my front porch.
Kids are easily tricked. So
Right.
Yeah.
Dogs too.
Well,
as it turns out.
Yeah,
He'll
I'll get
just forget
a
with the length of the movie.
yeah,
seriously, I know.
they are long. I do remember them being long.
By the way, Eric, I just checked that. So it was interesting. Like the music kind of caught your son's attention because the Hans Zimmer turns out the composer.
Hans Zimmer, yeah, it's not what's his name? John Williams?
John Williams.
No.
Yeah. Which I would have thought it would have been him because it sounds like his style almost.
Mhm.
I was thinking, when I heard, I'm like, is this like Jurassic Park, kind of like Indiana Jones kind of vibes, and it's just kind of
Big old school 50s kind of Hollywood kind of historical epics like this.
yeah.
Hmm.
He keeps playing it on the Echo though. I don't know why.
It's a good tune.
Yeah, he doesn't even do anything when he hears the song. He's just kind of like
Mhm.
doing homework. And he's like, kind of shaking his head. And
Okay.
yeah,
Is it? And does he think like the Captain Jack performance is really funny? Is he trying to do that affect at all, or is that
no, I don't know which character he might gravitate towards. Maybe Legolas. He's in that, right?
Yeah. It's the same.
Yeah,
Same
okay.
universe. Yeah, for sure.
He got his
Yeah.
hair did though.
Yeah, he did get his hair done.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to think like sort of things I've kind of caught recently for the movies. Last few things I've seen. Conclave is a sort of it's a kind of like a Dan Brown Potboiler kind of a sort of kind of suspense drama thriller about like the election of a pope. The movie's got Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, just a whole kind of sort of crazy kind of range of actors. Just really kind of really interesting, entertaining, smart. I watched a Catholic couple get hugely offended by like the twist in the last 20 minutes and sort of ended up kind of walking out early from the movie because of that. Like that was kind of interesting.
I mean, that's a good payoff if you ask me.
No. I saw Heretic. That's the new movie about these two Jehovah's Witnesses who come to a. Why am I blanking? Like four weddings and a funeral, and Hugh
Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just like the Hell of Age. It's a movie about kind of late career Hugh Grant torturing a couple 20-something Jehovah's Witness for a couple hours.
Nice.
Sounds like it's up your alley.
Yeah. It was kind of it's pretty solid like in the first half, and then it kind of devolves into kind of this sort of knockoff brand version of Barbarian, like in like the back half of it. It doesn't end as interesting as it began, but it was kind of some fun to be had. Yeah.
Is Hugh Grant very Hugh Granty in it?
I mean, very late career Hugh Grant, which apparently I've never seen kind of Paddington 2, but he has like this new register now where I guess during Paddington 2, Hugh Grant just kind of spends the entire movie trying to murder Paddington the bear. So I guess that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good synopsis.
Yeah.
What about like Dungeons and Dragons Hugh Grant?
Very similar to that. Very
Okay.
Just
he was
still
he does
just
betray them in that, so he's kind of like the nemesis.
Right. So pretty fun. And then what else did I catch? They did a theatrical re-release of The Fifth Element on Sunday night, which was
oh wow,
a favorite movie of mine from high school. That's
a great one.
Yeah.
Good.
Have any of you guys kind of seen it recently though?
No.
It's been a while, yeah.
Kind of pervy, as it actually turns out. Sort of.
Fine.
I mean, like to a degree of like a lot of shit.
I know. Ooh, the juicy details finally came out.
No, to a degree of kind of like a lot of shit sort of came out about like the director and how his he started his relationship with his second wife while he was 36 and she was 15, and he did like a lot of other shit that would have kind of got you sent to kind of prison in the States. And then his second wife, who he based their kind of covert relationship on. He kind of based like this script for The Professional on that. And then in The Fifth Element, his wife plays. Do you remember like the blue alien opera singer, the diva?
Yeah.
She actually, his second wife plays the diva in that. During the making of The Fifth Element, the director was apparently putting the moves on Mila Jovovich like the entire time. She was 19, was actually being filmed, and about like a year or two after like The Fifth Element was kind of like after they released it, he divorced his second wife and got married to Mila for like a few years. Like after that.
Is this a well-known director? Who directed
Luc Besson?
Yeah, I know the name. I don't know.
Professional. Valerian in the City of like 1,000 Planets was kind of like a more recent like thing he done. Like
never saw that. I heard it was awful.
Yeah, the Professional and Fifth Element were like the two sort of big. La Femme Nikita was like the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had that kind of in the back of my head. I'm like, just this is it's kind of like a Roman Polanski thing. Just
that's kind of icky.
It's sort of icky, but whatever. This was a favorite movie of mine, and then kind of sitting down and watching it, I'm just like, there's a lot of just kind of weird, icky shit that you sort of pick up, like just kind of have that in the back of your head, and also kind of be in your 40s and kind of watching something and just being like, it's got kind of a weird. I don't know how much of that is the director himself versus how much of this was just like the movie being French at the end of the day. Like,
they need certain things, certain level of nudity. I don't know, blue opera singers.
Probably a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was still fun, but I was still kind of like at the back of my mind, like just it was definitely like a fall off. I'm kind of like
that's too bad.
It's like implicating you in a crime or something.
Mm-hmm.
You've witnessed it, so now you're part of it.
Right. There's just agents like outside, like the theater photographing.
You could tell she wasn't 16, right?
What do you want me to say, huh?
You pay for the ticket.
Any kind of case. So do you guys want to get on to the movie?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Like I said, continuing our mockumentary cycle, Werner Herzog's 2005 documentary, The Grizzly Man. Synopsis in brief. A complete and total lunatic discusses a man who was eaten by bears. Yeah.
It might take ain't much different.
That's a good one. I like that one a lot, John.
I don't know. So like usually at this point in the show, I like to kind of do like a little bit of kind of like the background and kind of like the just talk a bit about kind of the critical commercial success of the movie. Do like a little bit of reading from like a professional critic who reviewed it. I kind of want to pin that to like the end of this discussion. I think I mentioned this on the pod last week, but out of the mockumentary cycle, I was like, this might be the weirdo one. This was my choice for like the set of 4 movies. They
might be the weirdo one.
This might be the weirdo one. This might be like the one that's people are a bit maybe kind of more mixed on. So I just Werner Herzog's Grizzly Man. I want to kind of jump right into it, guys. What did you think?
Who wants to kick it off?
Okay.
I want Naveen's opinion.
Go ahead, Naveen.
It means the most to me.
Oh, wow.
No pressure.
No, not pressure. I feel loved.
All
right. This it was fun. I mean,
What?
It was just.
Who's the nutty little bear with a rib cage in his mouth?
I don't know. Like first off, I want to just say this is clearly a documentary, so I don't think it really fits the mockumentary.
No.
But
I was going to do regardless. Yeah.
But at the same time, there are points in it where I didn't believe it. Like it seemed like a mockumentary.
Yep.
The coroner was just way over the top, and it seemed very scripted. There's one scene where the guys, the forensics guy or whatever, is giving the watch to an ex-girlfriend, and they just pause, and they're just waiting for something to happen, and then they start zooming in, then something finally happens, she starts crying or something. It was just like,
yeah.
So I mean, I say it's fun, which is kind of weird, just because it was just so out there. And
I believe, like, the way I kind of prefaced this last episode was from a certain angle, this is not a particularly funny movie. From a certain other angle, this might be one of the funniest movies filmed.
Like, it was unexpected. It was just weird. And sometimes, like, what is this true?
Right.
This guy.
It seems impossible. Everything about it seems impossible.
Right. And
and
the other side's like, this is tragic. So that's my take on it. It was just really interesting to watch in that regard. Just
it's fun.
Well,
you twisted bastard. I bet you love Fifth Element too.
Yeah, that is also fun.
Right. Bruce Willis falling in love with like a 1 day old and like a giant diaper. I mean, there's layers that are weird.
True. Cutting open a blue alien. It's great.
Yeah. Andy, how about you?
Okay. So I don't know if I enjoyed this movie or if I did not enjoy this movie. So, okay. Treadwell is an incredibly polarizing human, but I'm going to refer to him as a character because he really doesn't feel real in this whole thing. On one hand, like, the dude fully believed that he was doing this for the right reasons. He was the only person that could save these bears and could save this place, this land. At its essence, this is a very noble pursuit on his part. That being said, his methods for doing this were totally fucked, like, just so weird and like wrong-headed. They were at best flawed, but more often than not, they were reckless and dangerous and completely wrong-headed. He didn't do the bears or the foxes any favors at all. They were just fine without him. And they ultimately, as it turns out, at least one of the bears would have been way better off without him.
If you kind of read behind the scenes, it was actually 2 bears that had to get killed by like the Rangers.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so there you go. So
it was kind of a small omission from like the film, but just another when the Ranger Service was investigating their death, another smaller bear ended up sort of randomly attacking the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, he had this need to like continually insert himself into this world, and like I couldn't help but sit there and go, man, a lot of this is coming from like a purely ego-driven, self-serving place. The dude ultimately, like, he was not compatible with the real world, the modern world. He was ill-equipped to navigate it. So he thought that by going out into this wilderness with these bears that he believed were his friends, who probably, at the end of the day, were completely indifferent to him and his presence. It was just, I don't know, like, I felt I had this sort of weird feeling when the movie ended of like, I almost feel like I shouldn't have seen that. Like that, that should have been a private thing that happened.
Could we dig into that like a little bit, Andy? Could you speak to that like a little bit more? That's really interesting.
Yeah, sure. Like it felt like it almost felt voyeuristic. Like I was watching a guy slowly, maybe not so slowly, like devolve into mental illness and madness and self-aggrandization and self-importance.
Suicidal ideation in a way, just
a little bit. I mean, I don't know. It just there was a part of me at the end of it that just felt kind of icky about having seen it. Like that poor dude. His story ultimately is a sad one, even though he probably went out, quote unquote, doing what he loved and with the bears that he loved. But like that, he needed help. And he just didn't get it from anybody.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like,
let's cycle back to that in a bit. I actually have a couple thoughts on that, but Eric, let's kind of go to your.
I was going to say, kind of adding to that, I think the people that kind of knew him or were aware of him, the way they processed it was they were resistant to it. For example, that pilot, he's like, I wrote this down because I laughed, but then I was like, oh, if I actually think about that, maybe there's something to it, where he goes, yeah, I think the Bears left him alone because he was like mentally retarded or something. And I was like, oh, maybe.
Isn't that the same guy that said he got what he deserved?
What's with the second pilot, the fat pilot?
This is the second fat pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not the first one. By the way, I laughed out loud and I paused the screen. I had to go back and pause the screen when they introduced Tim Fulton, the pilot who would like bring Tim to like the campground. Did you see his profession?
No.
Pilot, former rodeo rider.
I did see that. Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Do they all have like really fun like professions? I checked everybody else and nobody had anything special, but that one was great.
Everybody out of Alaska seemed just I don't know what's in the groundwater up there, or I don't know.
It
he's like
a place that you could go to just sort of disappear. Like the weirdest of the weird could go up there and just live their weird lives, and nobody would judge them, and nobody would know any better.
Right. Like Jesse Pinkman at the end of El Camino. He's like, Alaska makes perfect sense.
Yeah, just keep going. I mean, I kind of had this similar opinion as Andy. I'm pretty sure they talk a lot about this guy's backstory, how he supposedly lost out to Woody Harrelson for the role of the bartender in Cheers. And after that, it kind of broke him. And he got into acting, I guess, because he was a diver. He was really into diving. And so he hurt his back and he had been doing a lot of drinking and drugs. So he turned to try to get into acting. And that kind of went to shit after losing to Woody Harrelson.
Can I give a point of clarification here?
Go.
You said a diver. For those that haven't watched it, we're talking about like Olympic diving, not like scuba diving.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a very clear path from Olympic diving to actor. Obviously, that's the straight shot for sure.
Yeah. There's a board involved.
Yes.
And so I think it was a downward spiral. And he's like, acting's not working out. He went back to drinking and drugs. They said he OD'd apparently at one point. And I just think he had all that stuff kind of caused some kind of brain damage. He said his accent was it was an Australian accent. And everybody's like
accidental details that get mentioned within like a sentence. Like, I love the conversations that they have in LA with his other actor friend who had very clearly rehearsed every single thing that he said in the interview. But at one point, he's like, Timothy was an interesting guy. We thought he was Australian for a while. He just had the accent, and then one day it just stopped.
But the accent doesn't make an appearance in the movie at all.
No, I think he clarified. He said it was Southern Australian.
Australian.
Yeah, you might have missed that.
Okay,
you might have missed that.
Right.
But I was like, what a weird guy. And that's the thing. It's like anybody that's gonna. I'm sure he had a great bond with the bears, but they're wild animals. You can't control them. They're going to kind of go off instinct, and they don't probably even know what a human is. You're just like another thing that's out there. The fact that in the end, they turned on him, and he said from the start, at any point, I could get, decapitated or eaten. I mean, it sounds silly in theory, but at the same time, it's a real threat, especially when he's living with them. And I looked it up, there's between 30,000, 35,000 grizzly bears in Alaska alone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about how many bears are around, and he's exposing himself to just a small handful.
Right.
And that's why they said, the one that got him was one that he wasn't familiar with. It didn't even have a name. It just had a number because it was tagged by like the park rangers, the park service.
Right.
So I was like, he just, random bear got him because there's just so many, you can only do so much. But I was, I was surprised Werner Herzog took this thing seriously. Like he doesn't agree, with kind of like,
no, he does not. No, he does not.
You know, what he's trying to do here. And he does kind of insert himself in a scene, which I was like, okay, that's a little much.
Mhm.
But I guess on some weird level, I do believe he has maybe some kind of admiration for what he did, because it feels like it's pure almost, as opposed to like, I'm an actor, I want to create this unique thing that nobody else is doing, and then I own this. Right. And now all eyes are focused on me because I'm the only one on camera.
It was never about fame. It was never about making money. It was never about kind of acquiring kind of status. Like, this is just.
But he didn't make the movie. He wasn't continually putting out documentaries himself. He was just filming this footage and thinking someday I can do something with this, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my take.
For me, like this is a movie that I kind of watched back in the day, sort of shortly after it came out, and it's sat in my head for like a really long time. I was kind of fascinated, kind of watching it at the beginning. I was kind of fascinated revisiting it, I guess, kind of close to like 20 years later. This movie would have been, I think, pretty interesting and pretty compelling with obviously Treadwell himself, but the very kind of strange people that made up his family and what seemed to be like his social circle, also kind of compelling. The documentary footage that he shot was really good. I think just extraordinary. And the guy had obviously like a bit of an eye and a bit of a gift for kind of making kind of films like that. If the film had just been just all of that without Herzog kind of like inserting himself kind of into it, I think it would have been pretty interesting and something people kind of think about and kind of talk about from time to time. But for me, it's the Herzog kind of coming in and kind of if his own story about like how he was kind of like a director back in the day, but he had a number of experiences, particularly this one film he made called Fitzcarraldo in like the South African jungles with Klaus Kinski that almost made him kind of have just like a sort of like a just almost kind of completely kind of broke him sort of like mentally and emotionally. Him having kind of that connection to Timothy Treadwell, but at the same time this kind of this kind of Southern California kind of nature activist versus kind of like this kind of German hyper pragmatist. I think like their voices in the movie kind of together, I think, are just so it's so consistently interesting. It's so consistently compelling. Hearing Treadwell kind of gives speeches about like I'm here to protect these bears. I will bleed for them. I will die for them. I am a kind warrior. And then Herzog cutting over in voiceover and just going, the bears, they only dream about murder. Herzog adds a really entertaining, really interesting kind of counterpoint. And I think and also kind of Herzog's like ability to kind of like, what he contributed after in terms of like how like the movie is kind of cut together, in terms of how all these kind of disparate parts of kind of just his life kind of before and after he was actually kind of eaten, like the way even like the film is scored, I think is like the kind of like the soft kind of guitar music underneath is so lush and kind of beautiful when you're kind of looking over these landscapes. This is not a documentary that's about kind of one thing, and this is not a documentary I think that has easy answers. Herzog in the first 20 seconds tells you this guy died, he was eaten by a bear. Here's some of its own footage of him describing what would happen if I actually got eaten by a bear. And in the first 5 minutes of the movie, they kind of get out of the way of like, the interview with the second pilot. This guy was a real dumbass that got himself and also kind of his girlfriend killed. And that's tragic. And Herzog never tries to kind of argue against that. He never kind of pushes back against kind of like the core facts of the movie. What he's kind of trying to do in this film, I think, is draw a complete a picture as possible of a very difficult and kind of very complicated subject. And then for me, that's what like kind of makes like this film like so interesting.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you think this documentary gives us all the answers to the questions surrounding kind of what happened here? And maybe what led up to this?
Andy and Naveen, you want to take a stab at that? I've got thoughts, but
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Naveen. I'm not sure.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. So I guess, do you feel like when you watch this documentary, it gives you a complete picture of kind of the circumstances leading up to Timothy Treadwell becoming who he was and eventually leading to what he did and kind of how it happened? Or do you think that maybe there's sometimes it's interesting when you kind of put something out there and it seems surreal, and you kind of question it and you're like, is this really what happened? Are these the real circumstances? Or are we not getting the full picture here? And so I was just wondering if you guys felt that way. Like, you're like, okay, yeah, they told a story and you like, that's just how it was.
Right.
I couldn't help but feel, sorry, I just talked over you again, Naveen, but I couldn't help but feel that that some of it felt a little put on, like, you know, like those people had really thought through and you know, in some cases rehearsed how they were going to answer, how they were going to approach Timothy Treadwell's story. I think I really do think that he had a pretty rough run up to when he finally decided to start doing this bear thing. They don't touch an awful lot on what he does when he is not in the Alaskan wilderness.
That was my point.
Yeah, that's an excellent.
What's he doing for the other, what is it, like 9 months out of the year or something like that? Hanging out with humans.
Like, what is he doing?
He's just in Joshua Tree. He's photographing cactus.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how is he getting? And Herzog made a point of saying that, you know, he took no money for these presentations that he did at schools. So, I mean, were his parents wealthy? Where did this money come from? How did he fund these trips? Because, I mean, even though he was camping out in the wilderness and not paying hotel and whatever, he still had to bring a ton of stuff with him. He had to, you know, charter a plane to get him out into the middle of nowhere. He had those at one point.
You had to buy a bunch of equipment, like
food to last him the whole time he was there. He wasn't hunting or anything. He wasn't scavenging. So how was he?
So he had these big barrels of food that he brought in. I mean, they showed him at one point when he got dropped off. He had these big barrels behind him with a whole bunch of provisions and everything. I don't know. I feel like there's definitely more to the story that either hit the cutting room floor or they left out intentionally.
Yeah, because I started to question this too. I mean, especially the second pilot, when they show him and I'm watching him and I'm like, he keeps like shifting his head as he's talking. And I realize it looks like he's reading a script or like somebody's holding like something up for him to read. So I was like, oh my God, is he just reading lines? Is that what this is? They're like, okay, look, kind of like, and maybe this is Herzog's approach. He kind of meets with these people. He says, all right, kind of tell me what you know about Tim.
It could be they get like a first pass, but like, okay, we got to
write it down.
Yeah.
And then you guys
give you like a teleprompter to work on so we get usable footage.
Yeah. But that Tim Fulton, the first pilot, he was so good at speaking. He did not do any ums or any likes. He wasn't pausing to think about information. And if he had to, he was on for minutes speaking. So this guy who was a pilot / former rodeo rider has pretty goddamn good, you know, delivery of lines.
They might have met like in Hollywood and like he was trying to like break into voice acting or something. Like, you know, it's not
maybe rodeo rider. He was into like bear wrangling or something.
Sure.
And then Timothy's like, I've got 35,000 bears you can wrangle. He's like, sign me up.
All right. Naveen, did you have something to add to that question?
I was gonna say, I mean, it felt scripted at some points. As I mentioned, that's why it kind of felt fun to me. Was just that it didn't seem believable, and that's where I kind of got it. And there were some points where he mentioned that I think it was when they took some footage of Amy or other things that he would literally try to hide some of the stuff behind the scenes. Like he's getting more than what we see.
Yeah.
And he has more than what we see, but he was just trying to hide it and not really put it in there. And then the other part of it was just noticing he had the one friend the actor friend who was on the beach there, but the majority of his acquaintances and things were women, so it just seemed like he was a woman.
And either like explicitly ex-girlfriends or women that really had kind of ex-girlfriend vibes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you just kind of mooched off of them during downtime or whatever.
Possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a throwaway one sentence line that I didn't even catch the first time I saw this documentary. But when they're showing the footage of Timothy and Amy landing like the little biplane, and Herzog almost kind of tosses this off. He's like, there were also other women, but they for this film they show like remain anonymous. So that my read is that this is not even like the first kind of chick that he sort of brought out to like the Grizzly Maze. Like this was
even Amy, the amount of footage with Amy in it, it's like 2 scenes, 3 scenes tops.
Yeah.
That could be anybody.
Right, and you sort of you look up like the background of this woman as well. Like this was not another kind of this was not a like another kind of failed Hollywood actress with kind of nothing better to do. She was a physician's assistant from I think like Colorado, and she kind of got interest in Treadwell after reading like the book that he published, kind of about reading.
It's weird because they keep pushing how much she is uncomfortable around bears, and I think maybe it's like you read about it and it's not real until you're actually there, and then you're like, oh fuck, okay, no, I don't want this. Because those things just, I'm sure that you're just the whole time they're around you.
Yeah.
So you must be thinking at any point something goes wrong, they could just, bounce on you.
Gross.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot missing as well. Like just there's a little bit stuff, but that run up into I'm going to leave the world and hang out with bears.
Yeah.
And then that there's definitely a lot missing. That
was anybody else struck watching this by just how strange his parents were?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so the coroner, when you kind of skim through like the letterbox reviews, I mean, and we can certainly kind of get to the coroner at like some point, but like his the weirdness of his parents, they struck me like two characters out of like a David Lynch movie. That they should have been, it just the mom sitting there just holding the bear was weird. The house and all the lawn just being filled with just bears and American flags was really kind of like, okay, there's some. Yeah,
the dad was holding a flag, I think, when they first showed him, and I was like, but watch out for him.
Weird fucking thing for me was when they were interviewing the dad had these kind of clip-on shades over his glasses. They're inside. They're being interviewed by a world-famous German director about the death of their son, and the dad didn't even take the clip-on shades off. He just kind of raised them sort of part way, like he's like outside doing like fucking like lawn work, and like the mailman had just kind of stopped by, and I just I don't know why that just hit me as kind of so bizarre as it completely did. But I was just kind of sitting there just like, what the fuck is the dad doing with the glasses?
He's retired. He's living big. He's doing whatever the fuck he wants.
There just seemed to be a weird like detachment, lack of emotion that the two of them had. I mean, and I can't, that's not fair for me to call into question because I don't know what kind of grieving they did in their, personal lives, not in front of the camera, whatever. But I just feel like no matter how much grieving, no matter how much acceptance, if somebody brings you back to that moment where your son gets mauled by a bear, like how do you
famously mauled by a bear? This I mean, they took it out of the documentary. Treadwell had been on Letterman talking about like his time living with the Grizzlies back.
Dude, he was on Dateline. They showed that clip with Keith Morrison. Oh my god, that was pure gold.
That was amazing.
Like, bears, weren't you afraid they could eat you at any moment? He's like, no, I'm cool. I like bears. Me and bears get along. Right. That's just wild, man. It's the 70s.
He 100% had sort of super 70s energy. Do you guys want to talk from the group chat? We largely all managed to kind of hold off on like a sort of pre-discussion of this film, but the coroner emerged as an early sort of fan favorite. Do you guys want to just touch on the coroner for just a second here?
I didn't even know what you guys were talking about, and I saw the picture, and I was about to give up on this film at like 45 minutes in. I was like, I don't think I can watch anymore. This just feels too weird for me. And then when he showed up, it clicked, and I was like re-engaged because he steals the movie to me. Yeah. But I'm like, who is he? He can't really be a corner. He's so good at like describing everything that he's speaking to stuff that I'm not even sure he should even be talking about.
And he just looks so delighted the entire time. It's like just finally you live up here. You never get a grizzly mauling.
Give me 5 minutes, you will never forget.
It's all like snowplow accidents or meth heads.
He is not there. I just refuse to believe that he was real in the sense that, like, I don't know. It just
paid actor.
Like he just screamed as a paid actor or as somebody.
Did he even introduce his name? I called him I didn't know. I didn't see it pop up. So
I
didn't know who he was.
I don't know. Early fan art that his name was Dr. Frank with a C Filoni.
He is full of Filoni.
He is full of Filoni. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not Filoni. That's not right.
No, not Filoni.
Filoni.
Hold on. It's
Falco.
It's in the chat. Dr. Frank Falco.
Falco. That's
is it Falco? Is it really Falco?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have paused it if I saw that.
No, I agree with you. I actually had to try to find what his name was, and the only place I found it, I think, was in it was either the Wikipedia or it was in like an article. T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Aging Dr. Frank Falco.
Dr. Frank Falco.
The name was worth the search 100%. I just the one interview they had where he turns around and he's being interviewed while there is a dead body on the slab next to him.
And who was that?
I don't know.
And he just
I don't know.
He should have started with like, oh, hi. I didn't see you there.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I did not kill them. I swear I did not.
And then he's got the weird like metal box that the remains came home in, and he kept on hitting it.
That's what I'm saying. These questions. Yeah. What's in the box? What's in the box?
He came back in this metal box right here. Wham! You know, like, I don't know. He was so weird.
When I did my little lecture the other day on sort of 3-act movie structure, this applies to documentaries as well, because that interview with the coroner and the metal box that he slams down, and he actually reveals we got all their possessions back, including, and this is really, really something, an audio tape of them being mauled to death.
Yeah.
That happens at exactly the halfway point in this book when they bring it up.
Yeah, that's when he started describing what was on the tape, I was like, oh shit. Like, I thought it was just kind of like, let's just kind of talk about what led up to that incident, and then what's the message at the end or whatever. But when he introduced that, I was like, it's like, then they feed you more information. It's like Dateline. It comes back to Dateline. They feed you more information, bring you back in. And then when they full circle with Herzog, and then they have him listening to it.
Right.
And I actually
let's go around the horn. What did you guys make of that scene? Because that's really the
Is this so? I want to. I know
this is. He has the headphones on. Jewel is playing the tape. She's watching him. You only see Herzog from behind.
I thought he was an asshole. Like, why do you need to listen to that? Like, I don't think who else is listening to it. A small handful of people. But why do you need to listen to that and then share your reaction? And we clearly know it's you. We can see by that angle, whatever angle we're seeing him at, like the back of his head. You know who it is, and you hear he's like, "You should get rid of this." I'm like, "What is it?"
The white elephant in your room.
This would be a white elephant in the room, which is which is two different idioms kind of smushed together. But I've actually been saying that myself recently. So
what a day. I was like, okay, now it's becoming more about you as opposed to Timothy, or I mean,
Herzog, in fairness, says now he's like, I should take it that specific scene out of the movie because it was
his ego throughout that the whole time. He's just talking over, kind of like share the footage and maybe add some facts about the footage so we can kind of understand and piece together what happened and take away something from this, tragic guy's life, as opposed to be like, well, when Tim saw the baby bear skull and he realized, Life is precious. I took it the opposite way. And life is like murder and chaos and death.
I actually specifically wrote that down. So you had a question. We have a question we're going to talk about. Maybe we jump to that one now.
Okay.
Where you said, does his presence add to or detract from the documentary? The very first thing I wrote was, quote, I believe the common character of the universe is not harmony, but hostility, chaos, and murder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
It's a very, very famous, like this movie, this is the reason why he played the main bad guy in Jack Reacher like a few years later. This is yeah, he was kind of an obscure figure to Americans until this film came out.
I mean, if he had been like, they say that there was 4 trash bags of human remains removed from the bear's stomach. I believe there was 5. I would have been totally on board for that. It doesn't spoil; it just adds to like the craziness we're watching. But no, he couldn't give me that.
I just wrote down what did he say? Perfection belongs to the bears.
Yeah.
That made me smile.
Oh, that's sweet.
I don't know. I just couldn't help but feel like, who made him, or who decided that he was going to be the gatekeeper of this tape for a man he never met. Like, I don't know. It felt kind of self-serving again to insert himself into that situation and so, I don't know, make himself feel more important, or I don't know.
I was going to say, when you have a documentary, usually stuff feels a little more natural. And this just really felt like to your point, it's scripted.
Yeah.
A lot of the scenes, I'm just like, didn't need to have that. The passing off of the watch. Oh, did you hear that? It's still working. Yeah. And I'm sure it will work for, many more days to come. I was like,
it can be
who are you?
Based on what, dude? That battery could die tomorrow, dude. You have no idea.
It's like, you're wearing a dead guy's watch. That's not creepy.
Yeah,
he got eaten with that watch on, and you have it on your wrist.
Out of a bear's stomach.
Yeah, and here's the coroner to give you even more grisly details. Grisly details.
It's one of the things that made it really not believable to me was just the fact that they had this tape of them screaming while they're being eaten, but yet the lens cap wasn't off. The lens cap was still on, and it's like, we just have audio, we have no video. So it's like
that's been part of like the journalism I've read prior to like this movie kind of like coming out. They're sort of thinking that like supposedly Treadwell tried to film every single grisly encounter that he had. So it's when the encounter actually started, he probably on instinct started running the camcorder, but then kind of stepped outside, and kind of everything kind of happened after that. So it's not a completely implausible thing.
I went on Wikipedia, and because I was curious, I'm like, there's still some details I didn't understand from the movie, and they said, I guess, and this goes back to something that was mentioned in the movie where Treadwell didn't get along with the human world and people in general, and he had that issue with the stewardess, or he was trying to buy a ticket.
It was like someone at Alaska Airlines said his ticket wasn't valid.
So so he actually was fighting about the price of the ticket or something. He didn't take the ticket, and then he stayed an extra week beyond what he would typically stay. Like he went back to Alaska, where the park, and he usually never stays around that time. And so what they said is he was pretty much trying to get a new ticket while he was there, and he was all packed up and ready to go. So he wasn't unpacking his stuff for the most part. He did a couple shots of that bear at the river and stuff like that. But they said when it happened, it was right around the time he was supposed to be flying back.
Yes.
Like a day before or something like that. So he probably had all his gear packed up, and they said that they found major bite marks on his head. So it could have been the bear caught him from behind. He was in the tent. He had the camera nearby. He tried to reach for it or grab for it, or he was outside and it happened. And you just don't have enough time to react when something's gnawing on your head. So that would explain why he's kind of moaning and then screaming for Amy to get out of there. But it said, attacked his head in midsection and stuff. And
So this is a kind of a good segue. I was a little maybe kind of hesitant recommend this to kind of pick this movie for the mockumentary for this particular cycle, because this came out 2005. YouTube is in its infancy. It was a few more years until sort of Facebook became kind of like a big deal. It was just technologically, it's a very different time. 2024, manic narcissists filming themselves every possible second doing like just the dumbest shit imaginable is just kind of the reality we're living in, and it's kind of the thing that's sort of just destroying culture. Do you guys think that if this movie came out today, audiences would sort of kind of think about sort of very differently than the kind of 2005, where like a guy like this was much more of a novelty?
I think he would be absolutely dragged, and just people are mean, and mean people have a platform now to just spew whatever kind of vitriol they want to. They would have dragged this guy all over the place. They would have made him into the biggest idiot. They would have laughed at him. He'd be a meme. If he isn't already, he probably is.
It feels like there might have been more rather than, a guy, I saw your book at the library, I saw your 5-minute interview on Letterman. There would have been a lot more kind of context about what he was actually doing, and the danger and the uselessness of what he's doing. Because I feel like in 2024, you watch a video by that guy, it's a 2-second kind of Google to find out the statement that's been made by, like, the Alaskan Park Service of this guy is being a moron and completely doing anything and not doing anything like necessary or useful.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have been nearly as revered isn't the right word, but I don't think people would have found him quite as entertaining.
They would not put him up. They would not necessarily put him on like the same kind of peasant.
I can't even say this could even be like a cult classic, like one of those ones that people watch and they're like, that was weird and disturbing, or just kind of goofy. And then, 10 years later, all of a sudden people are like, man, there's this really funny documentary, like, you got to check out. Like, I don't even think it hits that level. When you mentioned this earlier too, like you posed the question, I was thinking of like, what was it? During COVID, everybody's watching Tiger King.
Tiger King's like the great.
So I was like, in my notes, I'm like, Timothy Treadmill is no Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic has so much. He's the definition of charisma. I've
never watched a second of
really.
Nope.
It is.
Oh,
my God! It's the perfect
kind of,
storm of just.
I hate to call it chewed over at this point, but
it is not chewed over. And they got Joe McHale to be the host of the show, which is great.
I didn't know that.
But Joe Exotic, he's such a weird character, and you clearly can tell he has issues, but he is so confident. He's very like that. No tigers are going to eat him. Yeah. And one of the people that works for him loses an arm, and they have it on and they show it as one of the episodes. Somebody has their arm taken off, and you're like, Jesus Christ! But the person still works for them because they're like, I kind of believe in what Joe's message and what Joe's trying to do here. So it's the weirdest thing ever. It's almost like
Bowen Yang over this past weekend on Update does the Joe Exotic bit, and his last line of the bit is, by the way, have you seen the hot guys that I pull? It's weird.
He has a guy that's his boyfriend that's not gay.
Yeah.
But he makes him his boyfriend because he wants him to be.
And
he has to describe what it's like of having a Prince Albert.
I don't know.
He's like, there's a big focus on Joe Exotic's Prince Albert. And then I think it comes up. They're kind of like, so the Prince Albert, and the guy's like, yeah, I'm not into the whole gay thing, but I mean, it's just kind of, Joe's connected to me. So, wow, you can't pull that off.
Literally, our Prince Albert accidentally linked up the other night.
It's got Wi-Fi now.
Yeah. fairness though, like, the Treadwell had 2, possibly 3 girlfriends that we just know of from this documentary, and
I'm saying you could totally explore that.
Talk any of your wives into like a week camping trip like that, and they just to tell me the guy didn't have like some moves with women.
There's something there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of hit this real quick. Do any of you guys have like a personal version of fuck it, I'm going to go live with the Bears?
Naveen?
I mean, that's usually like every day.
Oh yeah, living the life.
Yeah, it's like I go to work and I go to sleep. The judge is like, all right, might as well just go.
Right.
Yeah, live with the bears, the crocodiles. I don't know, tigers, whichever one.
I got my cell phone one day. Why am I getting a call from Fairbanks?
Yeah.
Southern Australian area code.
Yeah.
There are times it just it's it's no fun here.
Yeah.
Do you have a version of that where you do what? Do you have like a place you would go, or
think of Happy Gilmore and like his happy place?
Yeah.
What's your happy place?
Oh yeah, that one. I haven't thought that much through yet. I know for a little bit, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'd go to Canada. I'd go up there and then maybe just keep traveling north and see what happens where it gets less crowded.
see at what point it gets hairy.
I'll stop when I die.
Yeah,
you were walking. Apparently, you didn't make it very far.
No, I didn't.
I feel like the whole idea of fuck it, I'm gonna go live with the Bears is becoming more and more a topic of conversation in light of the upcoming new president, and there's a lot of people that are just really afraid of what that's going to mean. And it's like there's a family, a couple that lives in my neighborhood who kind of are they're playing with the idea of just putting their house on the market and selling it and moving to Portugal, like just kind of being like, I'm out.
Have you been to Portugal?
I have not.
It's not a bad plan.
Food's delicious.
Plan at all.
Yeah. I mean, food's delicious. It's a beautiful spot. And like their point is like, democracy was an interesting experiment. Ultimately it didn't work. So screw it. Like, we're just going to pack our bags and go. And like, I'm definitely not there, but I can totally see how one could get there and just say, you know what, forget it. I'm going to go live on my little plot of land somewhere beautiful and warm and tropical, and live out my days,
Where are you going, Andy? Where are you going? You don't
I'm
have
not
to go there. This is just like,
I'm not a risk taker. Like, I'm not an adventure guy. I try to push myself as much as I can to be adventurous. But I typically, default back to go along to get along.
Right. All right, let's get the military. Let's deport this guy. Drag him out of your house. He won't show any resistance.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, I've made a concerted effort this year to try to push myself out of my comfort zone, and I hope to continue that. I've been relatively successful in doing so. I like.
Just look like you have a podcast now. It's not.
I have a podcast.
You watch Creep Show.
I watch Creep Show.
You watch 80% of Creep Show.
Most of Creep Show. I watch most of Creep Show.
Papa, anything for that?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this and I thought about it a little too seriously. I don't have anything like fun or whimsical I would share. I think maybe I'd go to like, I don't know, like New Zealand or something like that. Work at a library. It'd be fun ordering books and then I can read the books.
Okay.
Sounds wonderful.
Kids need help with reports and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, I can't get on the internet. Can you help me? And I'm like, okay, give me 5 minutes. And I sip my coffee. I let 20 minutes go by. And then I just swing around and they're reading a comic and it's all good.
Okay. Yeah. And then like a fox steals your hat and you're like, oh God.
Yeah. And yeah. I mean, if they do have foxes at the library, then it could be like a petting zoo, a petting library with foxes, because you can tame foxes with flesh.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Name boxes with flesh is going in the episode description. Let me make a quick note.
That's how they did it in Alaska, right? That's how Tim did it. Just the orgies and the flesh.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's why I have those questions. I'm just like, why are there so many horny male bears on that island?
I was just this is not something I'm quite proud of writing down, but you know they mentioned like that whole thing of like Treadwell finding like the severed like bear cub paw.
Yeah.
And Werner's describing it's like it's nature is cruel, but sometimes the male will kill the cub to make the female stop lactating and be receptive again to fornication.
Yeah.
That I found funnier than I actually should have.
Oh man!
I mean,
okay.
John, if it doesn't scare the cows, who cares?
I also wrote that down. What I write down for the bear thing? Just imagine a bear, just a bear have a conversation with his son and being like, "Son, look, I know you need your milk, but Papa needs his honey." I'm not. If you can cut all that out, please.
Ew.
Oh no! Winnie the Pooh got his head stuck again.
Oh bother!
Oh Pooh!
Oh Pooh! Oh man, he just.
And then Herzog comes out. The only consistent for Winnie the Pooh is decapitation and murder.
He has to do like an Eeyore voice. That would have been amazing.
Thanks for noticing me.
Hey guys. I can't do it.
The game of Pooh sticks reminds me of this German game. It is about sadness, but unpronounceable in the English tongue. Vigo's toes. Any sort of trivia? I mean, we get this is kind of not like a sort of like a typical one for fun behind the scenes detail. But is there anything people?
I got one. Let me say it.
All right, go shoot.
I love this one. This is so funny. In the 85-year history of Katmai National Park, Timothy's death was the first known incident of a person being killed by a bear.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
That is a big accomplishment. That's like Guinness Book shit. So that goes down in history. Number one.
Mm-hmm. We're putting up numbers, guys.
Yeah. Top that. And I touched bear poop.
A thing I found in my follow-up reading was a statistic that despite, just his whole kind of mission statement, I have to protect these bears from poachers. There was no reported case of poaching in that area prior to his death, and after him dying and the movie coming out, there's been 6 in the years that I've actually kind of followed.
My question was, what was he doing to stop them? Was he like sneaking up on them and playing little like tricks on them, and then they thought like the woods were haunted or something like that?
No.
Like it was so weird to me. I'm like, he's just out there. He's not doing anything.
Yeah.
It also makes me wonder if he's the one who actually wrote on the log and the rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a good one. That smiley face. I know what that smiley face means.
That's threatening. That's a threatening smiley face.
Threatening smiley face. They knew what they were doing.
I thought it was interesting that during the filming, Herzog was shot with an air rifle.
Wow.
He was being interviewed by the BBC. At the end of the interview, he was encouraged to check his wound. And it says, despite having, quote, a bruise the size of a snooker ball with a hole in it, unquote.
Oh, right. This was the British reporting, obviously.
Which is a weird comparison, because who the fuck knows what that is?
But BBC, so I mean.
Yeah, that's true. Herzog declared, it was not a significant bullet. I am not afraid.
I am not afraid.
I am not afraid.
Flesh wound.
Yeah, just the flesh wound.
I'm not afraid.
Just the insignificance of life. I don't know. Weird.
They were a murderer.
Yeah. I thought that was weird. Naveen, you got anything?
Yeah, the fatal bear attack there. I don't think we said it, but it happened in Upper Kaflia Lake in the Katmai National Park.
Yep.
And so Treadwell's obviously trying to protect the bears, but the whole thing of it happening, he ended up having 2 bears killed, which we had mentioned earlier. They've been protecting him for a while.
First human deaths and first bear deaths by human, like just purely as a byproduct of this fucking guy.
Right. I mean, it's just interesting that his death caused death of bears that he was trying to protect.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the definition of irony.
Right. In German, we have a specific word for that, but it is 27 syllables. Love doing Herzog. Let's kind of wind down. I want to kind of touch sort of the actual sort of like a response to this movie when it first came out, and then I'd like to end with the final paragraph from Roger Ebert's review. So Grizzly Man was released to commercial success and near universal acclaim. According to IMDb, there were an entire 22 Critic Award wins and 17 further nominations for Grizzly Man, including a Grand Jury Prize nomination and an Alfred P. Sloan Feature Film Prize win at the 2005 Sundance Film Festival. Many publications now list Grizzly Man as one of the best films of the 21st century and amongst the best documentaries of all time. Who wants to guess how many stars from Roger Ebert for Grizzly Man?
Going 4.
What's the most he gives out? 4?
4.
I'm going 4.
I'm going to say 1.
1 star. 1 star from Ebert.
Yeah.
Okay. Really? Wow. Okay.
Right.
Come on, we can't all agree on this.
This is only the 3rd film we've covered to receive a full 4 stars from Roger Ebert.
Christ.
After Lost Translation and Almost Famous. From his review, I think this is a great way to end. Quote, "I will protect these bears with my last breath," Treadwell says. After he and Amy become the first and only people to be killed by bears in the park, the bear that is guilty is shot dead. Treadwell's watch, still ticking, is found on his severed arm. I have a certain admiration for Treadwell's courage, his recklessness, idealism, whatever you want to call it. But then again, here is a man who managed to get himself and his girlfriend eaten. And you know what? He deserves Werner Herzog. There we go.
Huh.
Yeah. Grizzly Man, folks.
I don't know if that was a compliment, but
I'm not sure how to take that.
You deserve this, really. Well-acclaimed director.
Yes. Moving on to Sorbet.
By the way, I just want to give kudos to John for his Timothy Treadmill / Michael Jackson voice.
Mm-hmm.
I was really impressed by that. So,
right. I want to give a credit to Eric for this entire episode, calling it Timothy Treadwell, Timothy Treadmill. That's been fun.
Yeah.
I should have been counting.
You know what? It's not even his real last name, so I can call him whatever I want.
It's true.
He actually was from Southern Australia. It was like a double fake out. I just asked ChatGPT to write a quick 5-question multiple choice trivia test on interesting bear facts.
All right. I guess we're going to have to go for it because my sorbet sucks.
What is the Berenstain Bears? That was 4 or 5. Yes.
All right. So this is all written by AI. And this is none of this is vetted. All right. 5 questions. You guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Question 1. What is the largest species of bear in the world? A, the American black bear, B, the polar bear, C, the grizzly bear, D, the speckled bear.
Polar bear.
Papa bear? That's not the answer.
Papa bear, go. You got to buzz in.
I have to go with grizzly bear.
You have to go with grizzly bear.
I know it's not the answer. I believe it's A, but I'm going to go with grizzly bear because it's on theme with the movie.
Yeah. That is incorrect. Bean and
that's what I thought.
Buzz.
Buzz.
You said I had to buzz in. So
You're boring. Come on, baby bear
baby.
or mama bear.
Wah.
Treadwell. Ghost of Treadwell.
Buzz in as a bear, please. Dad, don't kill me because you just want to fuck. Art Naveen, go.
I'm going with polar bear.
Polar bear is correct.
Wow, interesting.
Okay. Question number 2. How many species of bear are there in the world? And let's do Price is Right rules. Closest without going over.
How many species?
Mama bear.
Shoot.
I'm going to say 49.
49.
Yeah.
Don't push too hard, man. You're gonna blow an
Yeah,
orange.
I know. Stop when there's blood. Papa Bear, I'm gonna say I'll go a different direction. I'll say 123.
123 from Eric.
All right, baby bear.
Baby bear.
I'm
What do
gonna
you
go somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna go with 83.
83. Okay. Not quite sure to handle this. All of you went over.
Wow.
I'm going to let's run this back. Let's do it's less than 20.
Okay.
I was gonna say we know there's at least 4.
Speckled bear. Yeah.
Yeah, speckled bear, unspeckled bear.
Was that you ringing in?
Oh wait, we're doing it again. I thought. Oh,
He's giving us
gotcha.
a second shot at
I
it.
got
Go
it.
ahead.
I got it right here. Papa
Less
Bear,
than 20. That's okay.
11.
11.
Yeah, baby bear. I'm gonna go with 7, just to make it 7-11.
Okay.
Cute.
Adorable.
Yeah, I thought so.
$1.
$1.
Did you call in?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mama bear. $1.
All I heard was like non-lactating female bear.
How do you know what I've got
Old.
going on? You don't know me.
Yeah, your shirt is pretty dry. So
Well, you know.
How do you know what I have set up for me waiting for me in Portugal? Okay, so Naveen actually wins that. The answer was 8. So there are only 8 species of bear in the world.
Damn it.
Yeah. This is a impromptu quiz written by AI. All of this may be completely wrong, but for the moment, 8 known species of bear are out there in the world.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. What bear is known for its unique black and white coloring and primarily resides in bamboo forests? Is it the A, Kodiak bear, B, Andean bear, C, giant panda, D, sun bear?
Papa Bear, the zebra bear.
What do you got?
Baby bear. Skunk.
Andy, nobody has answered correctly yet.
Because I don't want to be the one to get this one right. I feel like I'm going to know it all at that point. Female lactating bear.
No points.
Oh man,
Panda Express.
Get knocked up.
Yoshinoya
He
Default.
leads 2. It's
You win that round, AI.
The being with an unbroken rung among the actual answered questions. Okay. Question 4. Again, this is impromptu talk AI, and I was very specific to say I'll read the exact wording. Please write a 5-question multi-choice trivia test on interesting bear facts. Here is question number 4. What is one of the primary dietary habits of polar bears? Is it A, herbivorous, B, carnivorous, C, omnivorous, D, D, insectivorous?
Insectivorous.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a thing. Wow.
Mama bear.
Baby bear. Oh.
Yeah, Andy.
Carnivorous.
Carnivore. Yeah.
The carnivore.
It's insect. Herbivore.
I bet if you gave it like a cricket or something, it'd probably eat it. Let's be fair. I don't think it'll turn down a moving
He's
meal.
like, yeah, I don't want the cricket, but I will take that wristwatch. I'm next.
Is that still ticking? Damn, that's fine quality.
All right. And define again of our AI written last minute bear quiz. Question number 5. What adaptation helps bears to hibernate during the winter months? Is it A, large ears, B, thick fur, C, a slow metabolism, or D, webbed feet?
Wow.
I think, guys, I you know what my takeaway from this quiz is? That our jobs are safe at least for a little while. AI hasn't quite got it figured out yet.
Speak for yourself, my friend.
Yeah, maybe not you, Johnny. Sorry, bro.
John's like, and that concludes our quiz. Everybody lost. Fuck you.
Nobody's working yet.
I'm gonna say Papa Bear.
Papa Bear.
I want it to be webbed feet, so I'm gonna go with webbed feet, and then
Really?
hope
It
it
to be
becomes a
webbed-
reality.
I respect that, Eric.
Okay.
I feel like if it spread its digits, you might see a little webbing. It helps it with swimming to get the
If
salmon
Bear
carcasses.
141 had webbed feet and he was like a little more efficient as a salmon hunter because of that, maybe Treadwell or Treadmill, depending on who you talk to, would be with us today.
Maybe you'd be in better shape.
So you're saying it's not webbed feet.
It is not webbed feet. Naveen
Mama
and
bear.
okay,
Mama
shoot.
bear. Webbed feet.
Okay. Just
Papa Bear.
Papa Bear.
A skunk bear. Twice the charm.
Naveen,
Turd
chance
Ferguson.
to steal.
Naveen, which is it?
You gonna steal this?
Turd Ferguson. It's
You're gonna go with Bear Grylls.
Big hat, funny, right? Yeah.
right. I got this funny hat. Let's do it up. The slow metabolism.
Slow metabolism is the correct answer. So
The winter coating. Like
Yeah.
I figured that
Wait,
would come
it
into
was the
play.
right answer?
that was
Yeah.
the right answer. Yes.
Oh, I thought it was the coating.
No, slow metabolism.
Oh shit! I mean, come on.
Uh-huh.
My cats are pretty fluffy. It's getting cold out.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
mammal thing, right?
Yeah.
You guys got your coats?
They're down in the basement now.
Maybe not John. Maybe not John.
I've got mine all year long.
Okay. So that was our. What was that?
Finish that statement. High fives all around. I'm proud of you guys.
I'm not sure what it was, but
It
I
was
think I kind of
challenging.
liked it. I think I kind of enjoyed that.
As I look into the eyes of my co-hosts, I see no kindness, no kinship, only a half-bored interest in podcasting.
Yeah.
We are silly people. Andy, we are wrapping up our mockumentary cycle with our upcoming episode with your pick. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
I picked a movie that is absolutely not a mockumentary, just like you, Johnny.
Sweet.
I picked Strange Brew,
Strange.
which I actually don't even know what year it came out, but it was
83.
had to have been early 80s.
83.
Bob and Doug McKenzie brothers, as kind of lifted from SCTV.
Mhm.
And it's a very weird story about, kind of a day in the life, I guess, of the two of them. And it's really funny. It's a movie that I absolutely adore. I've seen it, I can't even countless times. And yeah, I chose it thinking that at least one of you probably hadn't seen it, and I couldn't. Yep. So 2 of you hadn't seen it. And I couldn't live with myself knowing that friends of mine have not seen this movie. So that's why I selected it.
Okay. Sweet. I remember kind of back in the spring when Ghostbusters Frozen Empire came into the theaters on Twitter. There was a lot of conversation about how unfortunate it was that I guess they had kind of tried at one point. Rick Moranis had not returned for the movie, but that segued into like people sharing all these clips of Moranis on SCTV was a Bill Hader level performer.
Yep.
Like back in the day. Like, this is the guy we kind of know from obviously Ghostbusters, Honey, I Shrunk Kids, kind of more kind of family fare things, but he was really kind of regarded as one of kind of like the, Canadian kind of sketch TV greats back in the day. And like, this is a movie I'd always been curious about, haven't gotten a chance to see it. I'm really looking forward to seeing and talking about it later.
Yeah. Yeah. And SCTV, for those that haven't watched it, is just a very deep well of very funny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That
like crazy famous people that were all just when we see some of these sketches and just who was in the same room at the same time.
Yep.
You say it holds up, or
a lot of it still holds up.
Yeah.
A lot of it is still very, very funny. It just didn't get the notoriety that, obviously SNL has gotten. It certainly didn't have the longevity of SNL, but some really, really funny stuff.
Careers like, John Candy, just Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. I think that's their first professional performance was together on that show, right?
Yep.
Was Bill Murray on there as well?
Nope.
No, Murray started the second season of SNL. He was not on the
okay, got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, strong recommend on SCTV if you can find it. I don't even think that it's streaming anywhere at this point, so I'm not really even sure where you would find it.
I've never seen clips of it on YouTube. I haven't seen like anything from it at all. I just know it exists.
It's the kind of thing though, like you pull up one clip on YouTube and it'll just kind of like just feed you like kind of 50 more things.
Take you down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Okay. Gentlemen, that was episode 31. That was Grizzly Man. I think to kind of paraphrase Mr. Treadwell, God would be very, very pleased with us.
I think Timothy Treadwell at this point might actually question the existence of God, but anyway. We won't get into that.
At least in those last 6 minutes or so.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'll talk to everybody soon.
All right.
See you later.